Yes, it is not TNT. We know that. You know that is my karaoke song. But yes, you heard intro music because today I've got an awesome special guest. My nephew, Nick Rosen. Nick Rosen Keys, as we say. He'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. He is an amazing musician. He'll give you some background from South Florida, but actually he is in the ATL with us right now, and he plays everywhere and all kinds of music. And I had to get him to come on out and play a little bit. He'll be playing a little bit later on in the show. But Nick, welcome to Around the Horn with CB.
It's so good to be here. I'm so happy. I've been listening to Around the Horn all of 1 week, and it's been influencing me, changing how I think about things. And man, it's just a real honor to be a guest on the podcast.
Well, I appreciate that, and it definitely, the throngs of people
they
that
are
listen
out
to the
here.
show. It's countless. It's growing, and so. I can understand why you were listening because it's just like a snowball.
It's insane. I was told by a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. I don't even know this guy.
Yes.
Met him the first time, and he said, "Let me ask you a question. Have you heard Around the Horn by CB?"
With CB,
yeah. With CB, right.
And that happens. It happens, and they get the name wrong once in a while too. So I don't feel bad about that.
I don't.
Nick, let's talk. I'm kind of excited because Around the Horn conceptually is we jump around talking about all different topics, and so the last couple of episodes. Have been kind of sports minded, so I want to kind of move in a little bit of a different direction, which I'm really excited about today, because you make your livelihood as a musician.
That's right.
And
that's right.
First of all, that is amazingly cool. So tell me a little bit about how music came a part of your life and how you really got started in this industry. What you're doing.
Well, that's a great question. I'll take you all the way back.
Yeah, take us back.
Take you all the way back. I'm 5 years old. We have an upright piano in the house. And you remember those books, those children's books that had the numbers.
Yes.
You got the numbers that correspond to the songs on the page. You play those, you can play the song. So what I did was I went from that book, played a song, to the piano, played the exact same song. And so somebody said to me, I forget who it was, said, well, you might want to take piano lessons. Next thing I know, I'm taking piano lessons. Fast forward 30 years, here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
I mean, but people think, as an athlete, you put. I used to say this to my teams. I still do when I coach that you don't work 6 days a week to lose. Well, my point is you don't practice what you do not to be good at it. So
that's right.
For aspiring musicians out there, even those who want to dabble, what goes into really preparing?
Just like anything, consistency. You got to be working on the right things, definitely. So you need somebody to guide you. You need a good teacher, just like you need a good coach when you're young. Right. But the thing is that if you want to take it further, you show up every day. You know what I mean? Even if you can't do it, you're thinking about music. It's a full-time job.
It is.
Even if you're not working, because a lot of people, they come to see you perform. Well, they don't care that you've had a bad week. They don't care that you haven't had any time to practice. They're paying their money to come see you play. So you got to give them a show. You got to show up for them. And that's up to you how you prepare, with that consistency.
That is awesome. And being someone like myself, I really appreciate music. I love music. And I know you obviously appreciate all kinds of music.
Yeah.
How did you kind of guide yourself to where you are today as far as what you play? Tell me about what kind of music you prefer to play, what you enjoy playing, and what you do as far as your livelihood.
Wow, it's pretty extensive. I got to say, for me, it changes sometimes. From year to year, it changes. I mean, I spent the majority of the last year on tour, which with a band called the Shadow Boxers, opening for Justin Timberlake. That was almost all exclusively pop music. You know what I mean? But from time to time, I interspersed some jazz music in there. Matter of fact, a few weeks after that tour ended, I shot over to China for a few weeks to play exclusively jazz over there. And so it just goes, from it's like passing the ball around. One night I'm doing this, one night I'm doing that.
That is amazing.
It's pretty cool.
I'm going to work backwards by what you just said.
Yeah, go ahead.
China. Now, how does, first of all, from someone who, you're talking about someone who's never been out of the country.
Right.
I went on a cruise.
Where'd you go?
So long ago I don't even remember.
No, not maybe the Bahamas. We'll just say that. Let's go to Bahamas.
Let's go to Freeport.
Freeport, Bahamas. I'm sure it was beautiful.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't know if I went there or not. But anyway, so I went on a cruise, and but that was the last time I was out of the country. Other than that, I don't even have a passport.
No?
In fact, I took my daughter the other day. She's going to the Virgin Islands for spring break to get a passport.
Right.
And I show up at the office like an idiot, like, okay, I'm here to get a passport. And the woman's like, where's the birth certificate?
Right.
Where's the photo? And my daughter looks at me like, Dad, what are you thinking about? I'm like, obviously I'm not thinking about it. So I had to go back and get all the stuff, but obviously you had to get a passport for China.
Get a passport.
But how's your passport photo look?
You know, it looks all right. Let me tell you a little bit about that. I had a very, very nice passport photo. I left it on the coffee table when my dog was a puppy, and he chewed it to bits. And of course, he chewed the photo ID page, not the one, not the pages that would have been fine to go. So I went to the passport office. And I gave them the passport, and they passed it around the office. They said, "Look at this! Look at this passport!" You know, everybody was laughing at me. Anyway,
did they make you retake the picture?
They did.
Now you're not supposed to smile on a passport photo.
I didn't, and I found that.
Did you smirk?
No,
You should have smirked.
I should have. You know, I kept it really, really professional.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And here was the big thing that everybody was worried about. Is I wore my glasses. You're not supposed to wear your glasses in a passport photo.
Because of you can change your look.
You can change your look. They want to see you clear as day. But I haven't had any problems with it yet.
Fabulous. And hopefully next time you go out of the country, you won't have any problems either.
One can only hope.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So remember, don't smirk next time.
I won't. I didn't.
Let's get to China. So tell me about how this China gig happened, and tell me about your experience in Asia.
Yes, I'd love
Another
to.
continent, by the way.
Unbelievable, like a different planet.
It is.
It's
Could you name the
unbelievable.
7 continents? If I needed you, not right now, could you?
100%. I love geography.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So back to China.
Yeah,
Tell me
yeah.
about the China trip.
Well, now I'm thinking about the 7 continents, so I'm just making sure. I don't want to make a false statement. No, I do know them. Okay, cool.
Good. I like that.
So, back to Asia. How did I get the gig and tell you about Asia?
China. Tell us about China. Yeah, what's it like for people that
Right.
the throngs who've never been out of the country?
So, for the millions of people that are listening to my voice right now, I want to say, if you've never been to China, I met a guy over there, came to one of our shows. American guy, we'd been over there for ages. We started talking. And he said to me something that I'll never forget, which I thought was incredible. China is what the future would have looked like 100 years ago.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It's very cool. So basically, if somebody 100 years ago said, this is what the future is going to look like, that's what China looks like right now. And I'm going to tell you why. There's horse and buggies, horse carts,
yeah,
and people running and people on bicycles next to sports cars, Maseratis, and everybody gets the same treatment. Just because you got a Maserati doesn't mean you can't. If you're walking a dog, you get the same treatment as somebody who's got a Lamborghini.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. But then there's buses and people, and somehow people don't get hit. It's incredible, actually.
That is pretty amazing.
It's
Now,
amazing.
my question to you is, when he told you this, did he tell you this in Chinese?
Oh, no.
And
American
did you
guy,
understand it?
That would have been cool. But no, he did not. Actually, maybe it wouldn't have been cool, because if he told me that, I'd been like, I don't know what this guy's
So you don't
talking about.
understand Chinese?
I understand a very little bit of Chinese.
Give me one word in Chinese.
Guangzhou.
Is that fake word or is that a real word? A
Piano.
piano.
That's how I learned it. Guangzhou, my guy.
my friend.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Sing us a song. You're the Guangzhou man. So tell me about what it was like playing. I mean, what was the gig? Did you have a set show? How did it work?
We had a set show that we kind of varied from night to night. You know what I mean? But I'm going to be honest with you. You know, Chinese folks, they're not 100% exposed to what we do, American music. You know, they've had that communist government for all time. They kind of regulated what they could and could not see. So they're a little bit behind as far as certain things, you know, catching things up. Fashion and other things like that, they're right on the money.
Right.
But music, I think there's a little bit of a lag there. You know what I mean? In art in general.
Now, where we don't have a lag, of course, is here in the States. And you mentioned earlier, which is pretty amazing to me, we'll get to Justin Timberlake in a minute, but tell me a little bit about how you hooked up with this band, the Shadowboxers. What's the background on that relationship, and a little bit about the Shadowboxers and that experience?
Yeah. So the Shadowboxers, they're originally from Atlanta, you know, which is where we live. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the music scene in Atlanta is big, but it's small. You know, you get to know people, you play together, all different kinds of things. So I struck up a friendship with these guys through an organization called the ATL Collective. We were covering a Stevie Wonder album called Inner Visions. This was about going on 5 or 6 years ago. We became friends immediately. We found a lot of similarities. So I started guesting on some of their shows. If they had a show, they'd bring me on to play auxiliary keyboards or some other
Which
stuff
I've
like
seen
that.
you a number of times with them.
With the guys,
it's highly entertaining.
It's great.
It's
It's great. But, you know, over the course of time, we got a real friendship happening. And I did some tours with them. And finally, they got this opportunity to open up for Justin. And boom, they asked me to come on.
What was it like playing on the big arena tour? I mean, that's amazing. What is it like playing in a big arena tour?
I'm gonna walk you back.
Yeah.
So the last night in Philadelphia, right, which is a Saturday night, was June of last year. We're in Philly, whatever the big arena is that that everybody plays over there, and I'm playing. I'm like, you know what? I'm missing all these notes. I'm just looking around. I'm like, I may never get this chance again. So I'm looking around. I'm messing the show up. No problem. I'm just checking. I'm going. I'm like, I'm playing in this arena. And I wanted to really, really get that. But one of the coolest things is we were watching the NBA playoffs and we were like, oh, yeah, we played there. We played there. We played there. Whatever arena it was, we played there. You know?
Amazing.
And the most special night, I think the first night was the most special because it was all our first time playing in this arena. We played in I can't remember the one in D.C., but it was in D.C. And we played this arena. We're like, and we're about to play this, incredible venue.
I mean, it's goosebumps, man. It's unreal.
It's insane. The second night was Madison Square Garden.
You played the Garden
second night. And that was
arguably the most impressive venue in the world.
It was a moment. You know what's so funny about that? This is good. We're hyping this up. Madison Square Garden. This is New York for you. Madison Square Garden. Here we go. We're walking down the hallways like I'm Patrick Ewing. I'm getting ready to go out here and play. The arena's like 1/10 full. Nobody cared. Nobody cared about us. They only wanted to see Justin.
How is that possible? You told me they'd rather see Justin Timberlake.
I know than me.
Than you and the Shadowboxers.
It's hard to believe. I still can't sleep at night.
Now, and when you were in Cleveland, for those of you that have seen Spinal Tap, did you walk around underneath the stage saying "Hello, Cleveland, hello, Cleveland," and not find a way to get onto the stage?
Man.
Well, anyway, think about it. If you haven't seen Spinal Tap, go back and watch it. It's classic.
Oh, I have seen it. I'm just trying to remember if we did that in Cleveland. I don't remember.
Now, let me ask this question because we talked about this in episode 1 with Caitlin Bass.
Caitlin Bass, I know her.
We talked about it. You're related to her.
Related.
We talked about the Bass Movie rating system, and can you confirm that indeed you and the Shadowboxers on tour did indeed rate movies?
Let me tell you how we did this. First of all, not only did we rate movies, we found such pleasure in it that we went to the Wikipedia page of best movies that were nominated, movies that were nominated for Best Picture in the last 15 years, and we took each one of them and rated it according to the Bass Movie Scale. And this was actually on the way to Boston, I remember.
It's phenomenal.
Unbelievable, wasn't it?
And if I may ask you, yesterday we had spoken briefly. If you wouldn't mind shooting out, you gave me a list of maybe 4 or 5. What are some fives on the Bass scale for
me?
For Nick Rosen Keys? First of all, wait a second, before we get to that,
of course.
Nick Rosen Keys. Tell us a little bit about Nick Rosen Keys.
Well, Nick Rosen Keys is essentially just the way people can find me online. There's a lot of Nick Rosens out there, but only one Nick Rosen Keys.
Okay, good.
So if you want to go to the website, nickrosenkeys.com, I got all my information up there. You want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, it's all there. Nick Rosen Keys.
And that's where they can see where you're playing because you do, bless you. You do play regularly, of course, all over, but certainly now regularly in the ATL.
That's right.
I've seen you at a small club, the Velvet Note,
That's
which
right.
I love.
That's right. Great
of course,
club.
But, you play everywhere. So they go to Nick Rosen Keys. That's where they can see where you're playing.
Yeah, they can see where I'm playing. They can sit. I released an album a few years back. They can check that out. I got some videos up there. It's a great place to see what I'm up to.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And equally as important to that are your ratings of the Bass Movie.
I would say maybe even more important.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So what are some 5s to you?
Oh, this is great. I'm going to think about what we talked about the other day. So, The Departed.
Yes, great
Scorsese.
film. Scorsese.
Unbelievable.
I don't want to give it away, but as you know, my pet peeve is anybody that gives away anything. But at this point, you probably should have already seen the film.
Seen The Departed.
So the surprise shooting when he comes off the elevator blew me away.
It's unbelievable. Okay. One of the best parts of any movie I've seen.
Okay.
Okay,
The Departed.
Departed. Right. Also, let's talk about the cast. Nicholson, DiCaprio.
Oh, come on.
Damon.
Stop.
Baldwin.
Just stop right
That's
there.
That's right there, right? I mean,
how could it go wrong?
It can't. It shouldn't.
It can't. I agree.
It shouldn't go wrong.
All right, Scorsese is at his best or one of his best.
I agree.
All right, a couple more. Give me a couple more.
Well, I'm going to give you one that we talked about that I thought is a really, really interesting one. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
That is a great one, and I mentioned this that if you get the first of its kind, afterwards they tried to steal the whole.
They did.
Ballet, if you will, of martial arts.
That's right.
But Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was phenomenal. I would give that a 5.
I think it's a true 5, and I thought the way Ang Lee directed it was unbelievable.
It really was.
A 5. Let's get another good one. American Beauty.
Oh man, going
Kevin
back a little
Spacey.
bit. Yes, Kevin Spacey, tremendous.
What a story.
Great movie.
What a story.
Heavy film.
Heavy film.
But I like that.
Well, right, and the way that the ending got tied up was unbelievable.
Yes.
All right, so let's keep going. So you want a couple more?
Give me
Or
one
you want
more. One more.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the one that you said was a 4,
Yes.
and that I think is a 5.
Okay.
Silver Linings Playbook.
So, and now, do you think you give it a 5 because of your affection for music?
Good question. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think just the characters in that movie
Yes.
were unbelievable. They touched me. You know
Great.
what I mean? I loved it.
That's a great film, though.
Yeah.
It really was. So, all right. Well, there's the Nick Rosen reaction to the rating system.
I love that.
Let me say this while I have you. I mean, you are a musician,
Right.
So I hate to even ask, but I'm
Right.
going to. Would you mind? There happens to be a piano over here.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
The luck we
you never know where you're going to just pop in, and because I do my interviews all over the place, and I had to have this interview in a site where there is a Nick Rosen piano.
It's incredible. We rented out the studio. We had no idea there was going to be a piano.
And there's a blank space, but just a piano.
It's unbelievable.
Would you mind sharing a couple of minutes of licks for us?
Not at all.
Do they call licks on a piano?
I mean, you could call them what you want.
Okay.
But what do you feel? What do you feel like hearing?
Why don't we
give me
get
something.
something that my throngs of listeners may know, and then
That's a good
something that's a
idea.
little more
Obscure.
Obscure.
I like that. Let me think about something that they might know.
Okay. Well, we'll warm up your keys there a little bit, and as I said, this is Nick Rosen. He is amazing. You will see him around the ATL. I'm going to turn it over to him. Nick Rosen. Keys. And now, can I have this little? That was phenomenal. I wanted to sing it. I wanted to sing it.
waiting. You want to get a little?
No, how about give us a little jazz? Something a little jazz.
So a little jazz. I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something like, as you know, there's a lot of songs in the jazz repertoire.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you maybe like an intro of something that I play.
Perfect.
Improvised intro of something that I might play.
Excellent.
For a song.
Very nice.
Thank you.
That was awesome. And let me ask you this question. You mentioned improvised intro, and that I was thinking about this as I prepared to talk to you today. So, you get contacted to do a gig,
Right.
Okay,
Right.
And obviously, you don't know a lot of guys, but you don't play with them daily, regularly.
Sure.
So, how does a musician like yourself, show up and just the show goes on, the people I've watched, and when you jump in and do your part, and then back and forth. How does that whole, how does it all work?
Well, the languages of music is one. If you're going to do this, you got to speak, right? Mm-hmm. And part of that language is sort of knowing when you kind of come in and come out, what you're getting ready to do. Now, usually, if it's a traditional jazz gig or anything that has improvisation, what will happen is a melody gets stated. And from that melody, you improvise off of that, right? So maybe somebody will improvise, the next person will improvise, but it all comes back to the original melody. Not all the time, but that's traditionally how we do it.
Now, it does make sense. Are there like some cues that, like I've seen you perform when you guys are jamming,
Right?
And it's for lack of a better term, but it's your solo time.
Right.
Do they give you a nod? Is it a finger gesture? How do you know when it's your time in the music to just do your thing, and how long do you go, and when do you know when to end? I always wonder how people know to jump back in with the other instruments after a solo.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's just say we're playing Lean on Me, right, by Bill Withers. So we're going to play the song down, and then somebody's like, all right, we're going to take a solo. What's going to happen there is that for the most part, we're going to have a set amount of times that we're going to be able to play this chord structure, and then over that, I can do whatever I want, right? It's my time, so essentially, it's my job to create that experience, to create that melody that people are going to gravitate towards, Now, when do we end? It, again, depends on the song, So maybe we'll just play however long until it feels natural to stop. But maybe we'll be like, all right, so we'll play this song, and then after 8 times through the chords, we're going to go back to the melody. So sometimes it's a prior conversation, but a lot of times it's just we're going to see how we feel at the moment.
All right, well, good. All right, I got one more question about music, and then we're going to maybe finish up with a couple other items. But you had mentioned earlier, talk about what it was like to cut your own CD.
Yeah.
How did that go? Tell us about that experience.
Let me tell you something. I always talk about this with some guys, that everybody should have the experience of being both a sideman and a band leader, because that band leader stress is like none other. You're responsible.
It's like being the coach. It's like being a player, but now you're the coach.
Now you're the coach.
That's right.
You are responsible for everything. You got to not only write the music, you got to perform the music, you got to book the studio, you got to pay the guys, you got to do every single thing, But, when you have some music that's in you, you got to get it out. You got to record. You got to put it out there. So the experience was honestly, I'll have to say it was a great learning experience.
And what is the title of your CD?
The CD that I have right now is called Step Into the Light. It was released on Rope-A-Dope Records, which is a record label out of Philadelphia.
Okay.
And they release a lot of great artists, and so I was happy to hook up with them. And you can find it anywhere. Just type in Nick Rosen, Step Into the Light.
Step Into the Light. Okay, and I've heard it's fantastic.
Thank
now,
you.
I'm going to share with you my experience with music. So I'm a firm believer that there's my 3 great regrets in life. One was not learning a second language fluently.
Okay.
I blame Senora Fry for that. She was my 8th grade Spanish teacher. She hated me. And Cliff Rosen was a friend of mine.
Right.
He and I would have to do these kind of dialogues. We would start laughing hysterically, and she was a mean lady, and so that kind of negated my opportunity to learn a second language.
Let me ask you a question. Did you do the dialogue in Spanish?
Yeah, we did, but we started laughing hysterically.
Of course.
Leche es muy frío.
Milk is cold.
The milk is very cold.
Very cold.
Yeah.
So maybe you're
El perro es muy malo.
The dog is very bad.
But I have 2 malo dogs, but I'm not going to get into that right now.
Let's get one more.
That's it. Because I have to move on to my second regret, which is not, back then it was called typing, not sticking with typing, because I, being an English major in college at Georgetown, I had to write many papers.
Okay.
Back then we used a typewriter, we didn't have the keys of a computer. Right. But nowadays when I use a computer, I'm left-handed, and people laugh at me because I type with one hand, my right hand, and my left hand is up like I'm riding a bronking bull, and I don't understand why. I sit there and use my index finger, so I do not know how to type. Second regret. The final regret, of course, is not learning a musical instrument fluently. I tried that, and I will tell you, going back to my high school days, there are 3 other friends of mine, Spencer Barron, Elliot Gray, and Michael Copeland. The 4 of us were going to form a band. In fact, we had the band title. It was going to be called Golden Claw. And we had this image of a claw coming out of the drum set. So all of us go out, we buy musical instruments. I'll never forget, I bought this amp and this guitar. It was a brown guitar, and I want to say back then, it's hard to believe, this guitar was like $65. That was it. But I made up my mind I'm going to learn a musical instrument. So I get in there, and all of us go into Michael Copeland's garage, and we're like, all right, Freebird, 1, 2, 3, ba-da, ba-da, bum, 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 bum. All right, Stairway to Heaven, ba-da, ba-da, bum. And we look back at each other like, we are a bunch of idiots. We don't know how to play these instruments. So I make up my mind, this is about September, I'm going to learn how to play the guitar. So I'm ready to go and start wailing when I go get these lessons. I probably should have come to you to learn, but you wouldn't have worked that way because you were probably not born at that time.
Not born.
Not born. What year were you born?
83.
Yeah, you were 4 years away, probably 5 years away from being born, but it was it could have happened.
Good idea.
It could have happened. If we were in China, the 100-year thing, it might have worked. But anyway, so I go to get the lesson, and I'm ready to wail on this guitar, and the guy gives me like a giant block of wood with these strings that my fingers were shaking when I finished it. It was so much pain. So for like 3 months, I'm learning how to play the guitar, I'll never forget, it's the holiday season. I set my amp up, I run out to the living room, my mom and dad are there. My mom and dad, Zandati Bass, come on in here, come into my room. They come into my room, I turn that amp up, I'm like, are you ready? Here we go, 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, down, ding, ding, down, ding, 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 down. Dun, 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 ba-da-dun, dun, 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 dun. Yes, 3 months.
One of my favorite stories.
3 months to learn Jingle Bells. Unfortunately, January baseball season started.
What happened to the guitar?
The guitar went in the corner.
Yeah.
It was sold a couple of years later. Golden Claw is still in my heart.
Yeah.
Was never formed. But I do have a love for music, and that is why one of my 3 great regrets is still to this day not learning a musical instrument.
I'm going to say this, and I think that the throngs of listeners would agree. Golden Claw lives in all of us.
Well, that is
Everybody's
true.
got a golden claw.
We do have a golden claw.
Everybody's got a golden claw.
Everybody, the claw lives.
The claw
man.
lives.
All of you out there, remember, I want you to walk up to someone today and say, hey,
The claw lives.
claw lives. Claw lives. There's no doubt.
The claw lives. The claw lives. The claw lives.
Wow, that was.
Claw lives.
We'll write the rest of the lyrics for the next time we're on the show.
All right, let me just finish it real quick because I'm almost done.
It
lives. It lives.
The claw does live, everybody.
I don't know where that came from.
Well,
That's the claw. It's the spirit of the
It's
claw.
the spirit of the claw.
The spirit of the claw. Got it.
We got a couple more minutes left. I love that. It's phenomenal. So yesterday we're with your nephew. Okay, you have your nephew, right? And so what would he be if that's your nephew? He's what am I?
He's going to be your great nephew.
Great nephew.
Yeah.
So we're with Nathan.
Nathan.
And I want you to know that I woke up this morning.
Oh man.
And I cannot stop singing.
Right.
You brush your teeth.
Yeah.
You brush your teeth. And it's this thing about Rafi.
Yeah, it is.
Now, for those of you who don't know Rafi's this dude. Is he even around anymore?
He is. We Googled him. He's in his 60s.
Rafi's in his 60s, but the music of Rafi, like Golden Claw, will haunt you.
Agreed.
And you said you had one of his songs in mind too this morning.
So last night I go visit a friend of mine. He's playing in Coral Gables. They're playing at this place called the Globe. You know, they're playing this complex music. They're listening. You know, everything's really intense. And I'm looking at these guys. I'm drinking something, and all of a sudden I think to myself, Willoughby Wallaby, wait. This elephant sat on take. Willoughby Wallaby, Wennis. An elephant sat on Dennis. And what am I doing? I'm sitting there in this place. They're playing this music, but it doesn't matter.
Because it's Rafi.
It's Rafi. Rafi transcending what they were playing.
You brush your teeth. You brush your teeth. Well, Nick Rosen, you are phenomenal.
Thank you.
I think I'm going to have you back.
Oh, I'd love that.
Would you mind?
I would not mind. I'd be looking forward to it.
And the claw lives.
Well, I think we figured that one out for sure. The claw lives in all of us.
In all of us. And we thank you for joining us for Around the Horn with CB, episode 5.
Episode 5.
And Nick, you the man.
You the man, T. Share with your friends Around the Horn with CB.
The throngs are listening.
Throngs are listening.
You brush your teeth. We'll see you later. Claw lives.